Hi, Sagittarius. Welcome to a tarot reading for the week of May 1st through 7th. It's Raina here. I'm thinking to myself, if I don't put out all these readings tonight, am I going to say from the 2nd of May to the 7th? Because what am I going to do? Oh boy. Okay. All right. Well, I thought we were going to have just like this is only like 3-card spread. I thought this was going to be just like a very lighthearted thing. But, you know, I'm a Sag myself. That's why I'm kind of joking about this. So I picked this reversed. I read reversed cards, but I'll hold it upright. The Four of Wands upright is a card of the happy home. Wands relates to fire energy, and Sages are fire signs. The other fire signs are Aries and Leo. And this, you know, when it's reversed, there may be something going on with a fire sign that isn't quite right. That's kind of misaligned with you. Also, it could be saying that your home life isn't what it should be. And that doesn't mean that, you know, it's not salvageable. It also doesn't mean that this is anything in particular, like anybody's fault, like anybody's doing anything wrong. Sometimes it can just be, maybe it's just a temporary thing where you're just feeling kind of funky. Maybe you don't really feel like it makes sense, because you had, or we could say we had, a lunar eclipse in Pisces back last September, and that ushered in some kind of changes to the home environment. Although I that's my solar information, so maybe that's why it didn't seem like it really was relevant. And for some of you, that might also feel like, well, nothing really is different. But it can just be, you know, remember that these are weekly readings, so it might just be for the time being that things kind of feel just not as full of that enthusiasm that they normally are. And so for each of you, this may have a different reason. In the past position, this card usually can shed some light on that. We have the Seven of Swords. This is a card of someone who is doing something underhanded behind your back. This is actually a card that can be associated with physical theft. But I was reading a book and they said cheating. So this card can be like a substitute for marriage, I suppose. When we talk about the home, it can be that as well. This can also be like something where you are kind of strategizing on your own. So you're not, maybe you're like planning your exit from a domestic partnership, a marriage. You want out. And yet you're just doing this within yourself. So that can cause its own set of issues too. You know, Jupiter is in the 7th house of marriage, committed partnership. And sometimes this can really, I think this can really improve a relationship. But sometimes I think, you know, because I was reading so many comments when Jupiter was in Sagittarius several years ago. Well, gosh, it must be a lot more than several. It must be like at least 6 years ago, since now it's in the opposite sign. And back then, people were really complaining and saying, you know, actually life got worse. And Jupiter's supposed to bless Sages so much and everything like that. And I remember an astrologer saying something like, Jupiter can just expand what you already have. So if something is on shaky ground, maybe it'll get even shakier. Maybe it will be a magnifying glass so that you will see exactly what's going on, because it is being like a picture that is being blown up. And that will be your version of luck with that transit. So with the 7th house, if you were somehow under somebody's spell and you thought somebody was other than what they really are, and then you see their true colors, you're like, whoa, wow, okay. Wow, I didn't know that this person was capable of this. Okay, now I get it. And you're able to move on from that relationship knowing that that person wasn't all that they were cracked up to be. So it turned out to be lucky anyhow, because you didn't waste one more year with the wrong person. So it's all in how you look at it. But if you have had any kind of like actual physical theft, that could be it. Now, in my mind, I just thought, hey, what if you're getting renovations made to your home? And maybe that's why the 4 of Wands is upside down, because everything is kind of in disarray. Be careful that somebody isn't stealing from you, like somebody who's working on the house. If things come up missing, that kind of thing. So, and then we have the outcome is the Wheel of Fortune. Now in this deck, they don't say fortune, they just call it the wheel. And this is actually connected to our ruler Jupiter. So, in this particular deck, they show a woman on top of this wheel. In other decks, they also show somebody like falling off the wheel at the bottom. And it's to show the cycles of life, to show that life is not always the same. Sometimes you're in alignment, because that's what I call the Wheel of Fortune, like being in alignment. That's what I call being lucky. When they say you make your own luck, it's like you find that alignment, you find that sweet spot that kind of coincides with your desires and what is happening to you, and kind of join forces with that. And the outcome is that things go your way. It seems like you can progress much more rapidly. And it's just a wonderful thing. One of the things is realizing that there are these cycles. And right now, if you are feeling kind of misaligned, understand, because the wheel is upright, and I've been getting a lot of reverse cards, so this is actually very good. This is a sign that things are about to change. There's another definition of the Wheel of Fortune, like a twist of fate, and I would say a turn in the right direction if you've been feeling like things are misaligned. So yeah, that I like to hear that. And I hope you enjoyed this, Sag. If you would like a private reading, I do astrology, the tarot. I do readings combining the two. Those are my package deals. You can find out more information at the link below. Thanks for watching. Bye.